Hey guys, welcome. One of the coaches of Unger Academy here, and this is our weekend chat about the market trends. But before we start, I ask you to please leave us a like if you like our videos and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the release of all our new content. Hi, we are the Unger Academy, and we teach traders how to make money in the markets. Our founder, Andrea Unger, had been struggling with trading for years until he developed his automated trading method, which he used to become the only 4-time world trading champion. Subscribe to our channel for free tips and tricks. Okay, so this was a pretty bad week for stock indexes. As you can see, Nasdaq went down by over 1.5%, and the mini S&P 500 lost almost 1%. Now, the European stock indexes did a little better, but let's not forget that they had fallen very strongly the previous week. In this chart, you can see the mini S&P 500. Now, there are some clear signs of weakness, and we can also see it from its volatility, which, as you can see, has grown significantly. This indicator shows that the historical volatility of the mini S&P has grown quite a lot over the last 2 weeks and touched maximum percentile values not only in the short term but also in the long term, in which volatility is currently at medium-high levels. And what's more, volatility levels are not increasing only on stock indexes, but also on bonds and energy markets. So at the moment, we can say that the market doesn't really seem to be in such a stable situation. As it often happens, when stock indexes go down, well, the bonds tend to go up. And this is the chart of the T-bond, which is now close to reaching its 2021 highs. We can see positive returns for the 10-year bonds as well, and this applies to both the US bond and the European bond, which is the Bund. Crude oil has also gone up over the last 5 days, and the same applies to its derivatives, gasoline and heating oil. On the other hand, natural gas collapsed, and in just 1 week it lost more than 20%. At the moment, it's down by around 24%. This is partly due to the climate, which is slightly milder than expected, and to an improved offer. Consider, however, that the European natural gas prices are still at very high levels, which means that this behavior can only be observed on the American natural gas. The metal sector also went down, so here we can see some pretty negative returns. The gold ended the week lower by -1%, whereas silver lost 4%. The meats market, also pretty weak. And the same applies to the commodity market. Even cotton went down, losing 5.94% and dropping from the all-time high it had recently hit. The only future that moved against this trend at the soft commodity sector is cocoa, which went up by 2.5% this week. Moving on to the other markets, we can see mixed returns in the cereal sector. The currencies were negative, and the euro-dollar stopped at 1.1275. Bitcoin made a banal return of 3.2%. At the moment, this cryptocurrency seems to be stabilizing around this price level. And perhaps it might be ready for a new explosion. Who knows? In fact, as you know, generally there's an alternation between phases of compression and expansion of volatility in the markets. Right now, we're clearly going through a phase of volatility compression. Let's also take a look at the chart of implied volatility, which, as you can see, has risen quite a bit over the last 2 weeks. And right now, we are at the highs of this period. The term structure of volatility is partially in backwardation. In particular, we can see that the white line, which represents the 9-day VIX, is higher than the 1-month VIX. And here, too, we can see a compression in the term structure of volatility. Given the instability of the markets at this moment, we can see that we're currently in a pretty delicate and even possibly dangerous situation. This is also clear when we look at the values of VIX. They're pretty high now. Actually, they're among the highest of 2021. So be careful, because the situation of the stock indexes is not particularly clear. Let's move on to the rollover calendar. We're approaching the 3rd Friday of the month, so we'll have to roll over the futures on the stock indexes and the VIX a week in advance. Finally, guys, for those of you who want to learn more about the Unger Academy and how we teach trading following the method developed by Andrea Unger, the only 4-time world trading champion, we're going to leave a link in the description of this video. It'll take you to a free webinar where Andrea will explain much of what he's learned in over 20 years of trading. He'll also go through the basic concepts of his method That is the trading method that let him achieve those extraordinary results that we all know. And with that, that's all for today. I kindly ask you to, once again, as always, leave us a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the release of all our new content. Goodbye, everyone, and we'll see you next week.